let the banner fool you. Yvonne, you're here first. Welcome, welcome. Glad to see you here. Let's give a little moment to let everybody file in. Hope all is well with everyone. Giant Gain in the house. Giant Gain, always there. Ride or die. I love it. Going to come and get some of this African heat. MSL Duncan on Facebook. Come on over to YouTube. That's where the action is. YouTube, Lancescurv, Kate Levy. Much love and appreciation. Thank you for coming through. Yes. Good music to get you in the mood. Just like those pastors who play the music to get you emotional before they ask for the offering. Isn't that something? Black folks are so emotional. We get in our feelings and do all kind of crazy things. When it really counts, we don't really effectively do what we need to do. I didn't make a title for this. I'll title it afterward, but like I'm usually going to do. Keep everybody in suspense. I'm just glad you all are here. Let me make a few adjustments here and make sure that everything is looking good. Just let me know how the audio is coming through, if the audio is sounding good, if I need to make adjustments, are there any echoes, is it too low? Everything is running well. Otherwise, I left all of the settings the same way that I had yesterday when I did last night's show. Or not last night, according to what the East Coast is. Yeah, nighttime, 6 o'clock in the evening. It's amazing how big this world is that I'm like 4 hours away. That's like a lot of space. That time bends. The sun goes up at a certain time here, but the sun comes up at a certain time over there. That's just amazing to me how big this world is. Yes. Got you jamming, right? Got you chair dancing. Just rocking back and forth and putting the arms out. That's what it's all about. If you can feel that music in your soul all throughout your day, that's what it's all about. Don't let anybody rob you of your joy. That's what it's all about. Now, I don't have a rag to wipe my face. These fans are not doing a good enough job, but it's a cleansing heat that is here that is taking any and all toxicities on a physical level away from me, and I love it. James Medlock, yes, everything's good in Dallas. Reese, how are you? Tell me something. Let's do a roll call. Everyone who is here, who's not hiding, because we have a few people who are hiding, let me know where you are. What country, what state, what city. If you want to give a shout out to all ancestors, those who are living and those who have transitioned. They're still your ancestors, loved ones. Congratulations on anybody you know in your life. Let's make it forever so that whatever's going on in your life right now, you put it down and you can go back and say, see, I mentioned your name. Somebody that you love that maybe you had a falling out with. Somebody who you may not be connected to, but you want to let them know that one day when you show them that you said, listen, I publicly proclaim that I love you, or I apologize. I'm not trying to do the pastor thing. Come forward and let me relieve you of all of your sins. Step to the front and proclaim that the Lord is you. No, I'm not trying to do that. Miss Tivasation, yes, Dallas, Texas. Giant Gain, Chi-Town, that's right. RB, Barbados, yes. Down in the islands, Miss Tivasation, I'm glad you're here. Honey Johnson, James Medlock, Reese, Giant Gain, Dame Johnson, Cleveland, Ohio. Yes, okay, I'm trying to pronounce this name right here. I'm just going to put little words where they're not. Urbic, Jedins or whatever. Hey, I tried my best, but you're here. I acknowledge you. Sugar P has been there from the very beginning over 20 years ago, and she's still hanging in there. Kevalev, yes, my brother. Much love to you. Tampa, Florida. Yeah, I'm going to kind of eventually take my face away from the chat room as I get into a flow, because there's something on my heart that I want to speak about that is not going to be popular with too many people, because, you know, we're living top-notch rocker. That's right. Clarksville, Tennessee. Ms. D. Nice, Cleveland, Ohio. Leviticus Roberts, Fargo, North Dakota. I'm sorry. I'm so used to saying North Carolina that when I say something North Carolina comes right behind it. But Dakota, folks in North Dakota need love too. Honey Johnson, Maryland. Virgo Venom. Woo, I love that name. Tracy from Indianapolis. Wow. This is something. I'm honored that you all are here. Seriously. You know, Reese, Seattle, Washington. And you know what, Reese? I found it out the other day when we went on that conference call that we didn't follow through with. And there's a map, and it kind of tells when, not addresses or anything, but it kind of tells where, you know, you're coming from, where you are. So I say, wow, Seattle, Washington. You know, Leviticus Roberts. I just got relocated from North Carolina, so it's all good. Leviticus. Let me ask you something. Are you the person that left the comment, correct? Just recently left a comment, because I remember Leviticus. If not, there's another Leviticus running around. Matter of fact, let me check my phone. And I have to say that if that's you, that was one of the most passionate comments that I have ever received. Let me see here. Let me scroll down. Oh, wow. You know, that made my day. Oh, Shira Peace, Chicago. It's exactly. Miss Tiva Station, Indianapolis is my hometown, and Virgo Venom. Okay, let me see if I can find this, because I have a couple of comments on that I get on my app. You see, when you make a comment, if a person made a comment on a very old show, I'm still going to see it. So people that try to be slick and do that, like, he's not going to see this. He's not going to. No, trust me, I'll see it. But this was on a recent video. For some reason now I can't find it, because there's just so many of them here. But I want to thank you for that comment and the spirit in which you spoke that comment. It really boosted me up, because believe it or not, there's so many entities in my not in my immediate world, but there's so many people that the more they see that you try to be positive and bring good content and do certain things, that they try to snub you. And it doesn't affect me, because look, I'm 59 years old on April 8th. I'm glad to have made that, and I will say it when I finally make it, okay? I've learned a lot in this life, and I've learned a lot how to deal with certain situations, and I know just from sniffing a person from afar what's inside of them. And there's so many negative people out here, you know. And yeah, let me just highlight this for Honey Johnson. If you have any shout outs that you want to shout out here, you know, I want to send a shout out to my friend Elise. We had fallen out and haven't spoken in years. I heard she's not doing well, so this is my way of sending my love to her. Thank you so much, Honey Johnson. We have to be aware of that sometimes you will have falling out with people. They're friends of mine that I haven't talked to in years that I didn't mean to do it that way. And I'm embarrassed. I'm like, oh, okay, a couple weeks, couple months, years. Sometimes we get so focused in what we're doing in life, and it takes us away from reaching out. But this is recorded. This is up here for whatever it's worth. Yes, it's YouTube, but it means something. So remember this show. They might be looking at it, or maybe you want to, you know, show them one day, say, hey, listen, I thought about you, and I publicly said this by name. That's going out to the universe, and it means something. Don't be surprised within a day or two, a week or two, that somehow, if they don't have your present phone number, that Elise is going to give you a call. You know what I mean? And if it's some kind of situation where you can't really go back, well, they're gonna find out somehow, because love permeates so much more than what we understand. That our own thoughts can touch a person. You think about a person enough, they're going to call you. They're going to have a feeling, or if there was some circumstances that were really rocky, it will soften them up and you'll come back around again. You know what I mean? And oh, wow, May 22nd, James Medlock. Yes, May 22nd, 59. I beat you by a month in a couple of days. Ain't that something? That's that bus driver thing going on. Don't think I don't know. Don't think I don't know. Melissa Grant, yes, welcome. Let me adjust the screen. Hold on tight. Hold on 1 second. Okay, boom. Like I said, we're going to show our face now. It's a little fuzzy right here. I'm going to have to adjust something here. I think the light is too bright. I'm not sure. Let me see. Let's correct this situation. It looks fuzzy all around my head, doesn't it? It does. I'm not vain, but I want to look right. Let me go into my settings and adjust some things. If it does or doesn't. Do I have a fuzzy looking head or is it okay? I mean, I know it's big. Just make sure this stuff, I got to make, and this thing is like so sensitive. This thing is so sensitive. Okay, let me just change the background here for a second, see how it looks. I don't know. What do you think? Should I just leave it or what? Mess around with it? Superman Haru. Oh no, too high. We'll leave it that way. I think I have too much light on me. I think I know. Let me just, is that too dark? Oh no, too dark. Right? I think this might do it. That might do it. Okay. All right, whatever. Fuzzy head or not, we're gonna move forward with the show. I think I need to cut those other lights out. So give me a second. Give me one moment. Let me take that. I think I got too much light going on here. Hold on. Hold on. I'm coming. Now, this might not be. I mean, I left everything exactly the same. This is controlled light, so it's like, why is it looking so different? You know? We'll roll with that. Nobody cares. Listen, it's the audio we're going to talk about. You know, coming here to Ghana, there's more of the old school kind of flow, even though it's not the same old school that I know growing up in America. But nobody's perfect. No society's perfect. I spoke before how there's a lot of corruption here. Ooh, a lot. The religion has taken over the mind of the people to the point of being very toxic that they can't see anything else. And for me, I'm better off over here. Not that I'm putting here over America, but I can kind of drop my guard. Because while there are people here who may not make as much money en masse, and like I said, I don't have a wash rag, I have a whole towel. So I'm sweating. I be sweating. But aside from that, there's more transparency when you deal one-on-one. And even though when you see deceptive people who think you come from America and you have a lot of money, right? The thing is that in America, in the UK, and the closer we are to the pink parasite, we as Black people have been messed up so much. And the way we deal with each other. And I spoke about that on the other show. Synovia, how are you? How are you, sister? Yes. Yes. Go to the bushes in the countryside. Yes, RB, I'll do that. Raw Reality, how are you? Denise Wilder. I'm going to miss some names now because I'm going to look straight ahead and kind of focus on what I need to focus on. But there's certain ways that I can drop my guard here that I could not do in America. And many have come here from America and still bring the same things that they had to deal with over there, the toxicities and different things. So a dashiki and an ankh and a African cap and some African bracelets, and finding out what your name is by the day that you're born during the week does not change you, unfortunately. And we get caught up in this fervor, you know? And for me, I didn't realize how much I had on me in dealing with a society that had changed so much from what I knew it to be growing up. And like I said before, and I'll always say it again, I remember Watergate. I remember the long gas lines and the gas shortages according to the numbers on your license plate, that certain days you can get gas if you had odd numbers or even numbers or certain letters, and certain days you couldn't. I remember Muhammad Ali beating George Foreman in all those years leading up after the Frazier fight, the golden years. I remember the smoke still in the air of Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. They had been assassinated, but 10 years couldn't take that away. I remember that time. I remember a time when homosexuality was labeled as a mental illness. That's a fact. I'm not saying yay or nay. I'm just saying that's a fact. I'm just checking to see how much of a charge I have on my phone. Should be higher than that. We had cookouts, we had block parties. Even if we didn't go to church, we were welcome to the church and the different things that they had. We had stresses and we had things on us, but Black people overall, we were better off. Oh, Yala, will I ever get a chance to talk to you? Even if it's for 5 minutes, I got to call you, right? Let me adjust this light or turn it up more. Why is everything looking different to me? I don't know. But whatever, we'll roll with it. Is the movement smooth or is it choppy to you? Like when I move my hands, does it stop like this? Maybe that's what it is, I think. Or is it a smooth movement when I move my hand across? That will tell me a whole lot, right? So that being said, we had more of each other. We had more soul. We had more connectedness. And now we're in a GMO world. We don't even realize it. Everything has been moved so slow, moved away from us so slow. And we need to know that right now is a time where we need to show love to each other. We need to hold on to our culture and our traditions because those are the threads that hold our suit together. If you don't have that main thread on your suit, after a while, you're going to find yourself butt-ass naked in the street because culture and our practices and the basic love that we have for each other is the very thing that's going to hold us together. And we don't seem to realize that. We've allowed the powers that be to hijack slowly our culture, our traditions. Some of us think our traditions are something that's born out of Instagram or Facebook or YouTube. They've massaged these things slowly into our everyday life where we accept them as normalcy. And it's just happening too much. And some of us concern ourselves about not eating a GMO apple or a seedless GMO watermelon, but we're GMO to each other right now. We don't vibrate the love with each other anymore. You know what I miss? Just little stuff that I would see growing up. I miss going to the supermarket with my mother. My father might have been parked outside. Maybe he came in, but she was the one who picked out what we were going to eat and the things. And I always kind of hung around because I wanted to slip things in the cart to the bottom that I wanted. Mommy, look. And I put it on and she'd pay for it. Where did you get this? We all did that now, didn't we? But one of the things I miss is being in the supermarket and seeing my mother speak with other Black women who she didn't know, but it was almost a conversation that was already in motion for years as though they were friends. And even though my mother didn't have this Southern kind of drawl when she spoke, but she might have talked to somebody who did, girl, you know these prices are going so high, so-and-so, you know you need to go down to this store because they got a sale on avocados down there. Really? Okay, thank you, sister. And then you keep on going. Not that you didn't want to talk to them, but we didn't have to hold on as hard because we had a universal love for each other that superseded any little foolishness that you say, listen, girl, you know, we can't carry on like this. Whatever it is that I did to you, because I have no clue. I kind of think it's this and I kind of think it's that. We were self-healing. That's our culture. But now being bombarded with so much on the news, and guess what? We don't have a connection to each other because we got this. And we feel we're more connected now, see? Because we got this. And that same person that my mother might end up talking to in the supermarket and finding out that there was a sale on our avocados down the block in another market, she would have never had if she was like this. We miss out. Eye contact means something. What do you mean? eye contact, the mirror to the soul, the reflections to the soul, it means something. How can you have facial recognition where if you pick up your phone to hold it in front of you and close your eyes, it's not going to work. Open your eyes and you can get in without putting your passcode if you have that kind of phone. I have that on this one, but it basically broke. Okay. So, okay, it's the battery sufficiently charged. I don't want to overdo it, mess up my battery. Okay. But it's when you make the eye contact, it can see deep into your eyes and recognize through your iris that it's you. It's been proven that when you have a billboard or an ad, if you put just words to it, it's not going to pull you in as much. But if you put a human face with a smile or some type of expression that correlates with that ad, the message in the ad, you'll get more responses from that ad. The human face, I forgot how many hundreds of different expressions it can make. And we can detect that. And even little babies, they can see your face when they're born. You know, they can't really see, but once they begin to see you, you communicate more with them through the eye contact and the way your expression is. If you had a face where somebody made a mean face or glared at you in a kind of spooky way, well, guess what? It would scare the child and they cry. If you talk to them in a favorable way that they know, they open up to you and they start laughing and they're glad to see you. We lost that now. Most of the time we're mean mugging. Most of the time we're all screwed up because of our own voids and different toxicities that we don't want to deal with. So when we see the next person happy, we're angry at them. Instead of reaching out to say, hey, listen, I'm going through some rough times. I need some encouragement. I need a hug. We're not connected anymore. Why are we not connected anymore? Did it happen by chance? Or was it something that was engineered? You see, I got some years under my belt now. And with me, the focus is, how are things so far off? Really and truly, I expected things to be better. When I was younger. And like I said, the aforementioned conditions of Vietnam and the war and the high oil and the heroin in the black neighborhood. I said, okay, we saw those things. And I was taught and well know what those things were in certain neighborhoods that were impoverished, yes. But there was nothing like coming home to your community, to your house, to your home, your house should be a home. But all houses are not homes. But we lost the very connectedness that we had. And now, just like two electrical wires that must be plugged in together so that electricity can flow through them, we are so disconnected that we can't flow anymore. And we have lots of deception out here. And we have people who have their own hangups, and when they get exposed, they want to blame the next person. They want to smear the next person because of how rotten they are. And they've only gotten rotten because they got duped and pulled away from the original way of accountability. But our egos are too big. We see what's on social media and we want to be the star. We want to be the one at the podium giving the word. But it's ego involved. When you truly love your community, when you truly love those around you, it is not a problem to get in where you fit in and serve where you're needed. You know how many house parties that I've gone to friends and to distant family, because my family is mainly distant. I don't have a core family. They were always distant, living somewhere else, right? So I didn't get to see them that much. But let's take my close friends that are family. And I have to say that I have been blessed with about 5 or 6 good friends, maybe 8, that I've known from the early and mid 70s. And the beautiful part about it is, although we don't get a chance to talk every single day, we utilize this because this is not fake, right? This is fake when it works on you in a bad way, but it keeps us connected more so, and we get a chance to laugh with each other on a daily basis. Sometimes we FaceTime each other. But you know the beautiful part about it? For me, which holds me up, is that those set of real friends, which really I don't want to say friends, they're my family. They're my family. And that connectedness to them has upheld me through times when you have the flotsam and the jetsam, meaning that the people that come and they go, the riff and the raff, they might have known you for several years. They might be in-laws, they might be old neighbors or whatever, but you find them to be fraudulent and not who they say they are. But to know friends, which are real family to me, it's not about the DNA, it's about the spirit and connectedness. This has protected me from the GMO world. That thing that is not real. The false smiles, the Colgate smiles. It's just a performance with many of these people now. And it's worse because when we meet people on social media, lots of times, I'm not saying anybody or anybody here who's in the chat room, but it's usually a production because, you know, when we take that Facebook profile picture, click. No, I don't like that one. Click. You're trying to make the handsome face if we're the man. We're trying to make the beautiful, pretty face if we're the woman. And when we describe ourselves lots of times, we don't say the whole thing. Not that we should on a public forum like this, right? But I got to say thank you to those who have been with me as friends from single-digit ages. My friend Angelo, I've known him since 1969 when I was 6 years old. 1969. I can pick up the phone and call him right now and put him on the show. I wouldn't do that to him. I don't know what he's doing. You know, he does have a girlfriend. My friend Kevin, Stanley, Carlos, Big Ty. He's a little younger, but you know, there are people who I've known that long. And the funny part about it is the world I come from, they all know each other. Isn't that wonderful? But usually in the present day, we have fragmented situations, and I'm not going to knock it because this present day is a little different aside from the GMO interference that we have. People don't get married to people in their own little community anymore because we travel more. We have a more global mindset. I'm not mad at that part of it. But no matter where you find yourself in this world or where you find yourself as far as status in a certain area of expertise, you should never lose your culture. You should never lose that thread that holds you together. So I'm asking you, and only you know, what is it that you have lost or gotten away from that has robbed life from you that was deeply enjoyable? Now we have more money. Some of us do, right? I wish I was one of those people, right? But we have more access to things. We have our sisters who have done well in life. They have their good place. They have, whether it's an apartment, a condo, a house, or whatever it is, but you know, you're on your way to paying it off, or it's paid off. You get to a certain age. You have your vehicle. It's not about having, I'm just painting the picture. You have brothers who they're out there, and there are a lot more good brothers, I have to say, out here than what we give credit for. Salute to those brothers, and like I always do, much love to my sisters. But we don't get the enjoyment as much anymore. Do you know how many people are sitting at home, whether they're single, right? Let's just say the single sisters and brothers that believe this lie that there's nobody out there that's trustworthy, that's loving, because we have been screwed over lots of times. We have been done wrong. And what does that make us do? It makes us do the rope-a-dope and hide, go back into a shell just to protect ourselves from, boy, I'm so relaxed with you. I'm taking a towel, wipe my head in the middle of a live stream. I ain't gonna front. I'm not gonna front. I see a new name here, Patrick Green. Unity is strength. Let's always remember unity is strength. Once we forget it, we're finished. And that is why we're on our way to being finished. Seriously, you know, true that Lance Royal reality. These devils have made us hate each other more now than any other time. And we're doing the work for them now. We're doing the work for them. They don't have to do anything to us anymore. So not only do we hate each other, but we're so disconnected that we can't see the commonality of us. It's just vicious. We have so much hate. When I see that aim toward me, I have to cut you. The envy, you know, you envy somebody, then you'll slander them. then you'll lie on them. And it's not too far before you become a murderer. So if I see these things, see you, you could be standing right here next to me. I don't know you because I don't know that. I don't want to be associated with that. Life is too short. Come on, y'all. Look, I want to live forever, and we will. We just don't know how it's going to go after transition. Some say this, some say that, but we know that energy is never destroyed. It just transitions into something else. You leave a pot of boiling water on the stove and go out in the backyard and do something real quick. A neighbor walks by and starts talking, and you forgot that you had the water on the stove. You're going to boil something, but you got to boil the water first. You come inside and you see the fire on. The pot's not really burnt up or anything, but all of the water is gone. So what do? You say, what happened? The water just jumped out the pot? No, the water's still there. Look on the walls, look on the cabinets, on the glass. A little bit turned back into water, but it transitioned into something else. You're never going to destroy water. You'll just change its form. Whether you put that little something in the freezer to cool it for a little while, it's kind of room temperature. I'm going to put it in here for a couple minutes. I'll come back in 20 minutes. I know it's going to get a chill. And you go on to sleep and get up and you forgot all about it. You open up the freezer and this thing is it's frozen and swollen. It didn't change. It just changed forms. So we will live forever. But I do know that there's some kind of rank and file system, some kind of proving ground, because this life is just too short. It's got to be a test. It's got to be a placement system. Like when you go to a college and they say, well, you haven't been to school for 20 or 30 years. So we have to see where you are with math. We have to see where you are with your writing. So you may have to take some remedial classes while you take this major. So they have to take a test to see where they stand. That's one thing, no matter what. I'm not even talking religion. I know what spirituality is. There's no way a rotten, venomous, evil, toxic person who don't give a damn about improving themselves, and all they do, they'll smile with certain people and convince certain people that they're the best person in the world, but they're evil toward another person. There's no way they're going to leapfrog you, who have done for the most part, and you did some things too. But you had some remorse and you corrected your ways, that you're a better version today than you were yesterday. There's no way the rotten person is going to supersede you and go into a better place next. This short little life. You know, I went and I purchased, out here in Ghana, you're not going to drink tap water. There's some people who can just go ahead and do that, whether it's through a borehole or a well or captured water, because there might be, not that this is dirty water, but I'm in a new country. And so you might have microorganisms in that water that are different to what I'm used to dealing in America. So I got to drink bottled water or captured water and filtered water. So I went and I bought 40 cases today. It's stacked up high because I don't like to go every week. Oh, I got to go get some more water. I'm getting a couple months worth of water because I like to drink freely and I don't want to be stuck in the middle of the night. Oh, I ran out of water. No. I don't do that. So I went and did that today, amongst other things. And it was just so much on my mind. And just the same way, let me say, like, if you go to America and you're from Africa or whatever, you may have to not jump into drinking anything over there. You got to watch the ice cubes here too, right? Or I just drink bottled water, but you order a drink and it has the water here in the form of an ice cube. But when I saw how helpful, because this is a big warehouse I go to around the corner. It's really close, short walk called Special Ice. But it was so much I had to get a car. I'm not driving right now to bring all of that back. And to see how they worked together smoothly, they did their job and they were cordial. I still got a little bit of the America in me, the bad part, where when left alone, my face falls at a certain type of expression that may not look too welcoming. And it doesn't mean I'm going to smile no, it doesn't mean that. But I find myself oftentimes my guard coming down, that when I deal with certain people that I don't know, it's like kind of up, I'm kind of braced. And when they treat me a certain way, good afternoon, sir, how are you? Person my age and some of the younger folks, how are you doing today? You okay? I'm like, oh man, why was I keeping my guard up? When is it that we're going to have a time in our life? We talk about this heaven. But are we really ready for this heaven? I'm not saying that is the way. I'm not saying there's some white angels running around and all of that. Who is it that said it? Was it Paul Mooney or somebody that said, well, if you go to heaven and it's all white, correct me if I'm wrong, that might not be Paul Mooney. If you go to heaven and it's all white, we know black folks that are probably in the kitchen cooking. They behind the scenes, like in a swanky hotel, running things, but you don't see them because they're not allowed to be seen. But yeah, this is what I thought of. Young man, help me up with the water. I'm on the second floor. So I said, man, for me to get the water from my front door and bring it into where I had to go. And he ran all the way downstairs to the vehicle and brought it all the way up. And we were hitting dead even. I said, man, that's the difference. I said, how old are you? He says, I'm what did he say? 23. I said, whoa. I said, you want to switch ages? Now I feel as though I'm physically capable, as I am, but maybe I have regressed a little bit, that I'm not jumping around like when I was 20 years old. And with those, cases of water, I began to feel it. I was sweating. I've been sweating all day long and I love it. But I said to myself, wow, look at this point of life that I'm in as far as the chronological age. I've learned a whole lot. I find myself with thoughts that I never had before because I'm more developed and I could see things from a more mature perspective. But the name of the game is we're only going to be here but for so long. And when we think of this forever thing, yes, I never think about the end of this physical life that I have here. My mind, this is why I don't get stressed about that. Oh, I'm getting old. Oh, my joints are hurting. Oh, my ding dong ain't anti-gravitational like it used to be as much. And when it gets that way, you better catch it while the going's good. Oh, I'm not losing this weight as fast as I can. Oh, I got to take a nap in the middle of the day because I'm getting old. I don't do that. I'll play around and say certain things, but I'm not thinking about no end. That's the trick of the enemy because his end is coming when he's out of here, right? And they don't want you to know your advantages on a spiritual level. This is why one of the reasons why we can endure what we've endured here on this level, right? Because of the intangibles. Because while they were whipping us and raping us and come on, we got to get out of this mentality thinking that, like, oh, slavery. I'm not hung up on just one thing, but I'm not going to deny the effects that it had on our psyche. And we've been messed up a lot because of that. And as soon as it seems like we have a chance to come out of it, here comes the GMO world inflicted on us with this topsy-turvy set of practices and customs and culture artificially inflicted on us. And we now accept it because we got rid of the original. But we wonder why we don't act like the original. We can never act like the original. You may have a vehicle and the person buys it from you and takes out the old engine and puts a heavy duty engine in there and they drive past you in the street like, my old car sounds different. What did they do to it? We're a hybrid now, you see? So when I was talking to the young man and he's like, oh man, you look to be in pretty good shape. He didn't say for an older guy. He held that part back being, nice. Then he said, how old are you? I said, next week I'm 59. And so he said, what? He said, you moving around pretty good. I'm like, what is he expected to be shuffling like that little man on the back of bed? Remember Benny Hill? And they had the guy that would hit the back of the head. Like I'm shuffling around like that. No, I'm long before that. No, the melanin is not going to keep me good to the day I transition. But it hit me. I said, wow. I said, in 20 years, I'm going to be a week short of 79. And I can remember 20 years so clearly ago when I was 39. And before that, 19. And the older you get on a chronological level, guess what? Your perception of time moves faster. Because when you're 1 year old and then you become 2 years old, at that particular point, when you were 1, you had to live your lifetime over again to get 2 to 2. You had to live another whole year. And if you're 1 year old, you had to go through a whole other lifetime. Do I have to do that to get to the next level? No. Because when I turn 60 and I live a whole nother lifetime, that's 120. It ain't happening like that. So the older we get on the chronological age, it's easier for us to not see how fast time is going. So you need to pump those brakes. I'm not saying slow down and but this thing where you're grinding and you're looking and you work yourself so crazy, there's a point where you have to get off the merry-go-round. They're throwing stuff to keep your mind so caught up in fear and anxiety if you don't have the brand new car, and you feel less than yourself if you don't fit these projections that the GMO world puts on you. But what happened to that little old grandmother who was sitting on the front porch and enjoying every single day and didn't have any of that, didn't even have a car? Baby, can you take me to the market later on? I think I need to get a few more things, right? They weren't worried about anything else. And in those days, we took care of each other. Nature's pension plan is to take care of the elders that have so much supreme knowledge that they fortify you with a knowledge that you haven't even earned yet. But we throw them away in the old folks' home, like they have no worth for us because they're old. You better, it's just like when you eat vegetables and you take a certain part of it and throw it away. And your mother said, you better eat that part. That's the best part for you. And you're like, oh, that's nasty. I don't want to eat that. But as you got older, you realize it now. So what they had in that part of those vegetables, now you buying vitamins to make sure you get that. You paying for it. But your mother told you what the best part was, but you didn't want to see it. Your grandmother or great grandmother or someone in that vein, it doesn't have to be where it's DNA. It could be somebody who is on a job with you. They're 20 years older than you and 15 years older than you. And they say something maybe that you don't like at the time, but it's the best thing for you. We lost that connectedness in this GMO world, and we're never going to get it back. We grab onto these foreign things and concepts. How do you expect to feel? You know, when you take a long drive, and I've used this analogy before, when you're home, in your own routine, eating out your own refrigerator, your own way of eating that's best for you, that makes you feel good, that you know what foods to stay away from that mess up your gut, right? You take that long trip, say from New York all the way to Florida, or New York to California, Texas to Louisiana, that's too close, but something far. That's going to take a couple days maybe, or a whole day, a whole 24 hours where you just get up, you got your rest, but you know by the time you get to where you're going, you're driving and the lines on the road are going by, and trucks are going by. Are we there yet? Let me just pull over a little bit. See, we don't understand when we eat that outside food that seems innocent. You going into different states and look at the different fast food restaurants that got weird names. Quirkies. What's a Quirky? I made that up, right? Welcome to Bing Bing's, the best hamburgers and what was it? And they got a little logo and got a little, like, okay, it's an established place. And you see all these people in there eating. It looks to be a normal looking burger, normal looking ketchup. They got Coca-Cola. I'm not saying you're eating these things or I'm eating these things, right? I'm just using examples, right? And you go on and you look at, man, this Quirky burger is good. They should have a Quirky's in New York, right? And you eat it, like, wow, let me get another one. Matter of fact, let me get a couple of them to take on the road because I don't know if they have it at the next state. Eat the French fries and everything. And you get one state over and you hear that universal sound of distress. And you know what that means. You having a thunderstorm in your belly. The whole mass of your stomach moves from the right down on to the left. Because if you know anything about the gut, those of you who have done enemas or clean yourself out that way, you know that from the anus up, it turns on to the left side of your body, comes on up this way, goes this way, and comes down. So this is why you have to lay a certain way when you do an enema on yourself so that the water can come all the way up the left side, down to the left, then you push it around, move it around. Too much information, but that's stuff we need to do. And you realize that this is something that your system is not used to. Like when you were back home, you weren't eating quirky burgers when you were back home. No, there's no place named that. I just off the top of my head made that up. So it's something foreign to you and your body begins to reject it. But guess what? On a spiritual level, all of these strange practices that so many people embrace now. You've always been who you are. Spirituality has always been what it is. But in order to dupe you, because these entities out here who are fraudulent in what they say they do and the results that their way of thinking or worshiping can bring to you, they're Johnny-come-latelys and hustlers and shysters and just looking to rip you off, right? And we embrace these things. So it has the effect on our life like that burger that tasted good, because when people come at you with all of this hocus pocus, it sounds good. But the energy that you're bringing to yourself, look at the results of your life after a while. You say you want a drama-free life and you've invited drama in because you opened doors that you weren't supposed to open up. GMO doors, things that are not real, things that are not going to nourish you on a spiritual level. Now, we don't like mosquitoes. Mosquitoes have their purpose, I guess, somewhere, somehow in life. But many mosquitoes will bite you and they'll have malaria and they'll make you sick. Some don't. So the practice is when you come into your home and you open that door, you don't leave it swinging wide open because here come a mosquito. Zzz, I'm going to hide over here. Zzz, and when you go to sleep, I'm going to bite you on your left ass cheek. And you're going to be itching and scratching, and in a couple of days, you're going to be sick. You see, there are a lot of people who claim African spirituality, and it ain't nothing but the occult. Ain't there something? And in our quest to get away from the GMO world, many of us think that we'll come to the motherland and we'll embrace the original African way. But what is the original African way? Alkebulan, because you can come here seeking that out and find yourself in a hot mess because you reject the thing that you know is no good for you, but you eat this burger that's going to make your stomach sick and have you real messed up, have you confused, have you worse off than you would be if you stuck with the thing that you knew was bad for you. At least you knew it was going to mess you up a little bit. You back home, you eating White Castle, you know you run to the bathroom for a little bit. But a quirky burger, you on a highway, finding yourself in all kind of positions. Y'all don't look, I'm going to open this door and squat. Pitch black on the side of the highway, have you messed up in all kind of things. And you thought this was going to be the answer for you because you got rid of what you know to be the original culture of yourself and what you had and that feeling of love. Anything that does not bring unity and love to your life, something wrong with it. We're made to be social creatures. We're made to be ones who depend on each other and vibe and share that energy. And this is why you must protect yourself like in boxing at all times. Because people come with the facade of this love and unity, and we must live as one. But they got a dagger behind their back because deep down they don't like you, or they like you and don't like the other one. They have their plans of what they can extract out of your life. And some of us are just so foolish. Just because someone calls us brother, or just because they call us sister and they have the garb on of the original African way, right? Oh, yes, my brother. Yes, my brother. Oh, my sister. But when you look at the behavior after a time, it's easy to say a word, but how is it to live that? Because the words are wind and they have such a short shelf life. The words are like the Trojan horse, where the Trojan horse was allowed to come in behind the walls of a fortress. And when the doors opened on the Trojan horse, the enemy came spilling out to destroy that army, that military force. It wasn't the army. If you're not really about the original way and you're not connected, you're lost. if you are connected, you'll have it in here and in your heart. You will hear a voice of guidance. And this has nothing to do with religion. We always have that spiritual GPS system. We've always had it. But since we've adopted other things and embraced other things because it sweetened us up so much, we got children in the inner cities who look at grape juice and say, no, I don't want the grape juice. I want the grape drink. I don't want the real thing. I want the GMO thing. Yeah, I know this burger doesn't have all the right ingredients inside of it. And it's GMO beef and GMO this and stuff with bad sugars in it in the bun and all, so destructive. But it tastes good and I'm going to eat it only because you want to knock off hunger. You can't deal with a little hunger. So you're going to take in all kind of stuff. You can't deal with a little bit of isolation to sift through and filter the fraudulent people out of your life. So to not be lonely, you let everybody in and face the consequences after of what you've let in. You better close that door quick or all the mosquitoes in the world are going to be in there and one of them are going to be full of malaria. Not to be paranoid, but we're living in a GMO world, a fake world that is engineered. The society has been slowly engineered to be against all things natural, all things creator. And when I say God, I don't mean the European concept of God. I'm just saying that thing that binds us all, that thing that you feel that when you're out in nature and you feel your guard coming down, when you go to the beach and your feet are going in the sand and sand is coming up between your toes and you feel the water splash you and the sun's on you and you're like, wow, why can I have this feeling all the time? Why is it only when I go out in nature and only when I go out to the beach that I can feel this way? Because that world you go back to is a GMO world that won't allow you to keep your original practices. Even if you, as one who was raised in America, who is a stolen African or a melanated person, let's not get into the division. Those practices originally of us being together, and for those stolen Africans who were slaves, things that were passed on and passed down, our little way of dancing with each other and getting around in a circle and just us performing, the original Soul Train line, the meals that the grandmothers and the mothers would cook while the strong men were out in the field hunting and cultivating and doing what they had to do. And then we came together happy in the roles that we had. The grandmother was happy with the roles that she had with the grandchildren to instruct them and teach them because she had the time, and that helped to make her live longer. How long do you think that grandmother's going to live in a nursing home, slumped over in a chair, the TV up there, strange white people around them that they know back in the day were calling them nigger and spitting in their tea, disconnected from life? Take a plant that you want to have grow in a pot and remove it from the sun. Let it never get sun. Don't water it. Put bad soil in there. Do you think you're going to produce something that's thriving? So why do you think we're not thriving? We're not thriving because we're disconnected from that sun. We're disconnected from that water. We're disconnected from being rooted in that righteous soil. That's what it is. Simple as that. But you're not going to bring all this other stuff and think you're going to have a wholesome atmosphere, a wholesome place that is so conducive to life. How are you going to raise strong kids off of Pop-Tarts? Honey, I know that I'm going to be a little late. I'm not able to come and cook dinner, but we have some Pop-Tarts and they're your favorite. I kind of hid them from you. Oh, mommy, Pop-Tarts. This old sugary wheat filled. You should be staying away from everything with wheat in it. Colorful with little sprinkles and sugary and then more sugar. But the calories in it that are not nourishing to you fill the child up and they're sitting here buzzing off the sugar. Overfed and undernourished. But really, listen, overfed with what? Something that's not nourishing them. Overfed and undernourished. They're not getting the nutrition they need, so they cannot function properly. They're being raised underdeveloped in ways that you can't visibly see. They're coming up obese. We got young men with breasts, fingers orange from the cheese noodles. And then when the cheese noodles done, you know how it is. I used to do it too. I used to sneak and get this junk food. The powder and the salty stuff in the bottom of the cheese doodle bag, you take your finger, orange, for all of them are orange, and run your finger in the bottom so you can get that salty cheese doodle powder. Mwah! And now you really want to know why your child's hormones are off. Overfed and undernourished. But it's not just something physical, right? It's not just physical. Overfed with religion and undernourished on a spiritual level. You ask anybody coming out of a church, hey, what's going on? Oh, you need to come worship with us. We're having a good time, and you know you need the Lord in your life. Okay. So what did you learn today when you were in church? They start looking at each other. They can't tell you. They can't tell you what they learned. Because if it's instruction, you're supposed to tell me what you learned, not just quoting out of a book, but how it affects your life and how it has improved your life and how I can see that it improves your life. But if I see a bunch of y'all gossiping, so wait a second, ain't that sister so-and-so and brother so-and-so, they over there talking about people? The way you look at others, the way you treat others, then that's not a place I want to be. Plain and simple. I don't want to be there. I'm going to take a peek at the chat room for a second. And all these names. Let me just highlight a comment or two. And yes. Yeah, they don't rent H. They don't know certain veggies and certain fruits and veggies. That's true. That's true. And that's sad. That's very sad. But I can't believe I'm up to the 58-minute mark. And I'm going to talk for a few more minutes, but I definitely have to go. Last night I spoke for 2 hours and 19 minutes, but it'll always be like around an hour and 15 minutes. And if I go off, I go off. But I'm going to say also again, I still have to speak with him, but we guaranteed tomorrow night that we have Irritated Genie on. And I spoke with him at length, but I couldn't get his email address. So I'm going to have to call him, get it back. I'll make the banners and everything because I'm going to get up. I'm going to have a long day tomorrow. I'll probably have such a long day that I won't do anything until the next show. If I can create something and, put it out there, I will. But soon I'm going to wind down. But what I'm going to do, I've been in, like I said, I thought I was going to stay up when I came in this afternoon. I fell asleep, which really is going to put me in a position of being up all night. Can't do it. Got to get back to bed. I got too much to do tomorrow. So I'm going to take a little short walk, not too far. People say, well, be careful out there. Listen, I made it through America. 57 and a half years living in America, right? And things have happened to me. But guess what? I'm still here. You think my spirit of discernment, my gift of discernment is off like that? And I know there's little creepy crawlies running around here that may have something on their mind. But I ain't that old yet. You better wait until I'm 79 before you can get me. Trust me. But we got to get back to the original way. Whatever that way may be for us, I can't tell you. But you know that feeling that we had years ago. But now these things are pushed on us now to the point where we accept them. And it's just like opening up that door and letting all the mosquitoes in, a couple rats and a couple snakes. And we can't accept all of these things. We can't embrace all of these things just to be nice. No. If there's a snake outside your door and he's hungry, well, you better starve. Because if I'm nice enough to bring you inside my house and feed you and go and lay down in the bed and sleep and feel you bit one of my testicles off of my leg or something, I can't be shocked. Why? Because you're a snake. We have a lot of human snakes around us too. They have purposes for being in our lives. It's time for me to sleep, right? They have a purpose for being in our life. And there's nothing conducive to making you better. It's for their purpose, not their self-promotion. About what they want from you. And once they get from you what they want, to hell with you, right? We have to accept these different lifestyle preferences, having it shoved in our face. We have to accept these foods being made a certain way that are not natural for us and are not going to nourish us, even though they look real good, but they're imposters. They're not made to or for our bodies to accept them. It's about profit for these people. It's about control. And it's also about population control. Because when you eat foods that don't nourish you, guess what? You're susceptible and you're open to sickness because you don't have the right defense. And all you worried about, this tastes good. Oh, they look good. There's no different than being a cross-dresser. Here you are a man. If you do this behind closed doors, I can't knock you. Whatever you do, don't put it in front of my face. But here you got a man putting on lipstick and makeup and dresses and got a big penis under that dress. Big size 12, 13 stiletto heels, and you want to walk down the street and expect the kids not to laugh at you? You want me to go along with this illusion that you're trying to put out into the world? Because you want to do that behind closed doors. If there's something freakish I want to do behind closed doors, I'm glad to be behind closed doing it. And it's nothing out of the ordinary. It might be a little more amped up than normal, but ain't nothing strange like that. You ain't catching me in no situation like that. But we've accepted this and we're beat down. And we don't see how over the decades it has changed our world. Years ago, when they first introduced birth control for women, what was back in the 60s or something like that, in the free love period with the hippies, and you mean you can be a young girl, young lady, and have sex with all the men you want, no protection, spraying off and feeling good, and your only thing was getting away from the responsibility that sex brings. Sex is good. It's a gift. It feels good. I feel good. But can you deal with the responsibility that comes from indulging in that? If you can't, leave it alone. If you can't handle the responsibility, don't stick things in where you're not supposed to. And I know there's ways of circumventing that. Well, I'm just into oral. Okay. I know a lot of guys that had relationships like that. And as soon as they were finished, the young lady got up, I'll be back, and got her funnel, put them legs up. Now she's pregnant. You left her alone. You thought, well, she hit me off a couple times. It was good. And now you get this letter from the family court. You are to appear. Huh? Who is that? You didn't even know her real name. But she's pregnant. And you take the test. 99.9999999. You hated the number 9 after that. I don't want to hear nothing about no 9. Hey, bro, I got $19 for you. Remember, you loan me $19? Just give me 18, man. I don't want to hear nothing about no 19. You've been duped. But now we can have sex, birth control, diseases out there. So we ain't thinking about the disease. We think about the pleasure. Just like with the burger, the Corky burger. It tasted good, but there was nothing in there good for you. Right? And so now we're afforded certain things now. So whatever's in the shadows and in the various closets across America and the world, open up your closets. It's okay. Be who you want to be. People were dip and dab in things, but nobody really left off the mark. They knew what normalcy was and what was righteous and you need to stay on. Now, you know, if you have a 2-lane road where there's one side going forward and the other side coming back, there's a double line there. Now, you know that you can go over the double line if you peek around. But if you keep doing it, you just can't do it recklessly. Like, you're going to get a head-on collision. And so this society, we're allowed to not even acknowledge the double yellow line, that there are consequences for our actions. And we go do what we want to do, because whatever the creator said do in nature and don't do, we do. This entity has changed around the very dynamics of our life. And whatever we're supposed to do, we want to go against it. I'm jacked up because of electricity. I wouldn't have sleep issues if there was no electricity, because I'd have to go to sleep because it's so daggone dark. But I can put on a light. I can stay up all night, be online. The blue light from the computer's messing me up. And we accept that as normalcy. So now when I have sleep issues where I just fall out in the middle of the day or run myself down, whose fault is that? I didn't go according to the laws of nature. Accountability, right? So what most of us are bitter about is that we had to be held accountable for something that we did that was off the mark. We can't blame anybody else but ourselves. That's the bottom line. That's the deal. So on that note, I am going to wrap it down. It's an hour and 6 minutes. I really can't. I'd rather do 4 1-hour shows than 1 4-hour show because the energy, you know what I mean? But these days, this week, I always promise to do this one. We got Irritated Genie tomorrow. I probably will try to record something before I leave tomorrow really quick or do a quick live that I don't have to really work on. I can just pop, 10 minutes, then head out and do what I have to do. Oh, but this weekend, might get some beach footage for you. I don't know. I'm going to do something. There's never a time off where I'm not doing anything online, but I'm shifting it around where I can live life. I have to live life. I got to get sunlight. I'm here in Africa and I haven't done much because of things that we're working on, of course, and those things will soon come to a close. But until then, I'm not going to be so cut and dried. I'm going to breathe more. I'm going to live more. I'm going to vibrate with the universe more. And I'm rejecting all things GMO and going back to my original way of all the things that I wanted to do, because so many of us work hard all our lives in warehouses and offices and cubicles and toxic supervisors that piss us off. And we finally do 20 or 25 years or 15 years on a job, whatever it may be, and you get this check. But you traded off your health for that now. Now you're not in such good shape. And we lie to ourselves and we really think that, oh, we beat this thing. In 2 years, we're gone. 5 years, we're gone. So I'm not waiting. I'm doing what I got to do right now. I made a rooftop that I'm going to put up. It probably won't come up to maybe another 4 or 5 hours because it's got to render and all that stuff. And I'll be sleeping by then. But it'll be about a morning time sometime. And maybe I'll do some live stuff through my phone. I got to start really adapting, how I put up the content. Because I can put out a whole lot more, but I don't want to make it where I wear myself down and have my life force all messed up and up all night, can't sleep and all that stuff. When I do it this way, I can produce more because there's a lot inside of me that I want to share because I love my people, but I can't neglect myself. I have to love myself because you have some people out there that they will watch you run yourself down. They will keep taking and taking and taking. And they'll tell you, you need to get some sleep, but they're on the phone with you all night. Or they just, I don't know. So there's a cutoff point, and I have to preserve myself because I want these years right now, right here, especially if I'm gifted with this, from 60 to 70. I'm just plucking at numbers. Doesn't mean I'm going to wait till 60, but I want that to be the juiciest part because I'm free of the system and I can just every day come out with more once I'm settled. Oh, yeah. This last 21 years was just merely a warm-up. Trust me. I've committed and I've dedicated myself, and there's other things I'm getting into also that you can enjoy, but that's my purpose, But anyway, I want to say salute to the brothers. Mwah. Much love to the sisters. Thank you for being here. And like I said, there's so much more. And yeah, Irritated Genie tomorrow night. And listen, that's not going to be an hour show. It's going to be something. I mean, it ain't gonna be 6 hours long, but if the brother wants to talk for 2 or 3 hours, and I'm shutting up. I'm gonna give him the screen and give him the floor. Let him talk. I'm gonna mute myself so you can get into the words that he's sharing, because from the conversation that we had the other night, he has a lot more to share, especially with the way the world is going right now. And remember, they had banned him off of social media. I mean, his name pop up, they ban him. I'm like, well, you're not banned by me. You can say what you want. If it gets that hot, we'll take it to Lancescurv.com and cut off all social media platforms where you're there. We're not going to cut you off. I'll just say, go to the website. We're going to really get down with the nitty gritty where they can't touch us. And that's pretty much what I'm going to do. But anyway, much love to you all. I will see you tomorrow. Or what is it now? Well, yeah, tomorrow. It's 11:11 right now. That angel time, right? So it's a perfect time to end it. Thank you for being here with me. We're going to chit chat again tomorrow night, and I will do shows over the weekend. We'll do a lot of cleaning, different stuff, whatever, chores, whatever. So I'm on top of things, right? So anyway, much love. I will talk to you later on. Peace. so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Sounds like a rap. Raw reality. Anyway, let me hide my face. It's not because I want to pick my nose so bad. It's not hide my face. But don't forget, I'm starting up my new Twitter page. MediaScurv. At MediaScurv. I'm going to be very active on Twitter. More so than Facebook and Instagram. MediaScurv. I'm going to drop the link right here. I don't have many followers. It doesn't matter if I do or don't. But you'll be able to communicate with me more there than anywhere else. At MediaScurv on YouTube. I'm sorry, not YouTube. What am I saying? Twitter. Yeah, it really is time for me to go get some sleep. Rooftop theme, y'all. Rooftop perspectives.